What is up guys, it's your boy Solheim here, back with another Classic WoW video for the Cataclysm Classic Prepatch. Now in today's video, I want to talk even more about things to do in the Prepatch. I've already made one video about this, where I made that one before the Prepatch came out, and talked about some general things that you really should do during the Prepatch itself. In this video, I want to build further upon that, and I want to tell you about some things you absolutely really should be doing in the Prepatch, and yeah, just give you a TLDR on what I'm doing so far, what I'm spending the weekend doing, what I've been doing all of yesterday by the way, and what I'm doing the entire weekend as well. So let's get into it. Now I will start this off by saying that I have a Cataclysm Goldmaking guide, and if you do want to make more gold in Cataclysm, definitely check that out through the link down below in the video description or the pinned comment. I'm talking way more about how to make gold in the pre-patch, after the pre-patch, exclusive gold farms, and we also have the best gold farms in Cataclysm. And if you don't like farming for gold, we're talking about how to use the gold we have to make more gold as well. Now just to talk about the profitability there, in Season of Discovery, when that came out, I had 1 million gold in Wrath. I put that into investments, into items that I've been talking about in the gold making guide, and going back in the pre-patch, they are now worth over 6 million. So going from 1 million to 6 million by using 1 million of gold, and just putting those into items that will be going up in price, I've been able to 6 times my gold. Now that is so far. Obviously that is in item value, so we have to liquidate that as well and get the gold back, but I would much rather have 6 million in items than having, for example, 1 million in gold, because now I can sell off 1/6 of my investments and get the gold back and still have a bunch of valuable items as well. So if you want to learn even more about gold making, then get the guide through the link down below, and I promise you that I will do my best to help you make as much gold as possible. And I know you can buy gold through WoW tokens in Cataclysm and in Wrath, and that's fine, but what I'm doing here is the difference between buying a fish and teaching you how to fish. So if you want to make gold and you want to not have to buy WoW tokens every single month, well, this guide will teach you how to make gold by yourself. And trust me, when you start doing investments, you make way more gold than a WoW token, and you don't have to spend hundreds of bucks, hundreds of dollars on the game itself in order to play. Now Cataclysm is a pretty expensive expansion, so keep that in mind. You do want to have some gold in this expansion, but yeah, once again, if you want to get more gold and you want to support me at the same time, the link will be down below. That is a long ass intro, but let's get into the video for today. So I've been doing a bunch of archaeology, and that's number one that you should be doing during the pre-patch. You should be skilling up archaeology to 450, because that is currently available in the pre-patch. And not only that, you want to farm for certain things as well. Now for this, it really depends on how hard you want to go in the pre-patch, but like in the pre-patch you don't really have that many things to do anyway, but trust me, if you are doing archaeology, you will be spending quite a bit of time. And for archaeology, I have a really nice add-on. It's called Minimal Archaeology. If you look to the right on the screen right now, Minimal Archaeology, that is the window that we have open down here. Now this window will track all of the things that you have, and you can click a button to solve it as well. It's just really handy to have. Now in addition to that, if you can open the history, and you can see what you have crafted so far. So for example, for the dwarf, you can see exactly what I've been crafting, and we can see how many I've been crafting for every single one. It is just very nice to keep track of what you have done and what you're missing as well. Now, why you want to farm archaeology after 450 is, first of all, you can get some nice toys, some nice pets, even a mount from the fossil, for example. Going over to fossil here, I have recently gotten the fossilized raptor, which is a really cool mount that I had back in OG Cataclysm, and getting it again is a big nostalgic factor for me. Now that being said, you can also start farming your literal best in slots in phase 1 of Cataclysm right now. So you can start farming these, the 359 item level binds to Blizzard account level 85 epics. So this one you can farm for your main, for your alt. First of all, they're really good for the item level they give, and some of them are literal best in slots, or at least competitive best in slot items. This is literally the same item level you will get from normal raids in the first phase. You would have to do heroic raids to get even better item level, and some of them have the perfect stats. Like this staff, for example, has critical strike, haste, spell power, stamina, and intellect. It's a really good caster staff. Now I will tell you right now, the chance of getting these are very small, and you will have to be prepared to spend tens of hours of doing archaeology to get them. Now the thing is, you have to be a certain skill, so to get these these epics, the level 85 epics, you have to max out Archaeology. So there's a little bit of tricks here that you could use to increase the chance of getting epics. So for example, from 300 skill to 450, I farmed in Outland because Outland is faster, so I was doing Orc and Draenei in Outland. It's also because Outland, like when you're skilling up Archaeology, I would recommend maybe going to Outland, because that way you get to 450 way faster, and you don't have to fly that far in between. So for example, you can fly from Hellfire to Shadowmoon to Terracar to Sangremarsh, and there's a much bigger chance you get all 4 in the same zone. Like once I had 3 Draenei fragments in here, and then right down here I had another one, so they can all spawn in one zone. There's only 7 zones to choose from, while if you go to Eastern Kingdoms, there's a lot more zones to choose from, so there will be a lot more spread out, the fragments here, the survey sites, and you also have to travel a lot more in between. Like going from the absolute south part of Eastern Kingdoms to the absolute north part takes a lot more time than flying from Shadowmoon to Netherstorm. So if you want to level up even faster from 300 to 450, I do recommend going to Outland to farm that part, because once again you don't get the epics before 450 anyway, so while skilling up you just want to get yourself to 450. Now in addition, what I was doing from 400 plus is that I went back to Kalimdor and Eastern Kingdoms and I kept farming, but I only solved the fossil fragments. So you solve a fossil to hopefully skill up while capping your night elf and your troll and your dwarf. So the thing is, you can have 200 fragments at the same time, so you cap those to 200 and you farm fossil at the same time, and once something is capped at 200 you start solving fossil to skill up, and then you can be 450 with maxed out troll, maxed out night elf and maxed out a dwarf as well, to give yourself a bigger chance at getting epics. Now you probably won't get them anyway, but that way you can min-max and skill up and pre-farm for the max level at the same time. So basically from 400 to 450 you can go back from Outland, go back to Eastern Kingdoms, Kalimdor and farm there, but only solve the fossils to get skilled up. Now here's the thing, when you're farming, you can actually get the epic from fossil without, like, not the shield, but you can get the raptor without being 450. The raptor you can start getting at 150 skill, I'm pretty sure, but for all the level 85 epics you have to be 450, so there's no point in farming these until you're 450 anyway. So the less you solve from troll, the less you solve from night elf, and the less you solve from dwarf, the more chance you have to get those epics later down the line. So try to solve as few of those as possible. That's basically the TLDR while leveling. And just to show you all the bound on account epics you can get, we have the staff once again from dwarf that I just talked about, and going over to fossil we have the shield, the extinct turtle shell, very good for tanks. Going over to night elf we have a trinket that, here's the thing, the trinket is a healer trinket, but it gives you intellect, and it's really good for casters to have, like caster DPS, because of the item level. The thing is, in Cataclysm, queuing up for heroics does require quite a bit of item level, and having a 359 trinket drastically increases your item level. That way you can probably queue up for heroics the second you get to level 85 by doing all the things we're currently doing, like pre-farming this trinket. Even if you're a melee, you can use a trinket to queue up and then swap trinkets inside the dungeon. So pretty much everyone wants to have this trinket anyway, but definitely casters and healers. But once again, even physical DPS could have the trinket to pad some item levels and then swap trinkets inside the dungeon. So that is a night elf one, that's the trinket right here, really good once again for healers. Going over to 12 year, you can't farm this one yet, but I want to show you the rewards anyway. We can get the Ring of the Emperor, level 85 epic. We can get the Scepter of Akir, which is a mount. You have a one-handed scimitar, and you have the Staff of Amine. Those are the important epics from that one. That is 12 year. Now, you can't get any 12 year fragments once again, but I did want to show you the rewards. And for Troll, we have Sin Rock, Destroyer of Worlds, which if you're playing a Death Knight, Warrior, Paladin, anyone who can use a two-handed sword, Warrior, like, you want this one. Trust me, you want this one. I'm even farming it from my alt. I really want this one. Plus, it looks cool. I don't know if I can show you that from this add-on, probably can't, but it does look really cool. So that's another good item to have. Now, the reason why I talked about 12 year is that once you have gotten the epics you want to have and you have 450 in Archaeology, the next part for your Cataclysm prep will be to have 200 of every fragment you can ready for launch. And especially, you want to try to gather all of your Kalimdor surveys roughly in the same area, because you want to have some Uldums as well if you can. You try to proc them in Uldum, but the more you farm over here, the higher chance you have to get them into Uldum later. And you also want to skill up Archaeology to 525, and the more solves you have ready, like if you have 200 fragments of all of these, you can get to 525 instantly at the launch of Cataclysm. So you can pre-farm those fragments right now, have a bunch of solves ready to go at the launch. In addition, if you really want to min-max, you can even buy these or farm them or get them while skilling up, like the green items. I don't know what to call these, but the tomes and stones and tablets, you can farm these now and get them while leveling and save them for Cataclysm and use them to skill up even more. Or you can also use them right now if you want to, or you can sell them right now for gold as well, because a bunch of people are buying them, especially the troll ones and the highborn ones and the dwarf ones, because they're trying to farm for the epics, and this really speeds up the process. So you can buy those right now to prep for Cataclysm, or sell them if you need gold. That is basically why you want to have Archaeology, and trust me, Archaeology is a big part of what you should be doing during the pre-patch if you want to min-max, or if you just want to help yourself at level 85. Being able to get those epics, you're literally doing Cataclysm content before Cataclysm comes out, and you will thank yourself for it at level 85. Now that's one thing that I'm doing in the pre-patch. Number 2 is buy flying. This one is really cheap, like flying in Azeroth, and then max out your flying. After that, get your dual spec in order as well, so just buy your dual spec and start setting that up. You probably have realized that all of your action bars, they are basically taken away, so you have to reset everything. So make sure your user interface is in order, make sure your dual spec is ready to go, your main spec is ready to go. Set everything up now. The more you set up now, the less work you have to do when Cataclysm comes out. So get your dual spec, get your glyphs if you don't have them already, like both for your main spec and the off spec, so get those in order. Trust me, you do want to have them. But that being said, right now there's a big rush for glyphs, and they're going down in price day by day. So for me, I don't have them all yet. I'll be buying them in about a week when the whole hype kind of goes down a little bit. So for glyphs, you can wait, but get them before Cataclysm for both your main spec and your off spec. And after that, the reasoning for the gold guide plug at the beginning, you do want to have some gold. First of all, for the flying, for the dual spec, you want to have like 5,000 gold right there. If you want to have the fastest flying and you don't have, for example, 280 is 4,000, and then 310 is another 4,000 if you don't have the achievement from Wrath just yet. So you would have to buy that for another 4,000, that's 8,000. Then you need to have dual spec, then you want to have flying in Azeroth. We're talking between anything between 4,000 and 10,000 depending on what your current flying skill is, and then you want to have some gold going into Cataclysm as well. You want to be able to buy the materials you need for your professions. So for example, most raiders will be having 2 crafting professions. I have alchemy and engineering, for example, so I need to have enough gold to skill those up in Cataclysm. After that, we have all of the consumes, we have the gold sinks, we have a couple of mounts we can buy. Trust me, there's a bunch of reasons why you want to have gold in Cataclysm, and the more gold you farm now, the less gold you have to farm later down the line. And during the pre-patch, there's a bunch of items that are in demand. I will be talking more about this in dedicated videos on how to make gold in the pre-patch. I have a video about a couple of really good gold farms coming out very soon, but I just wanted to mention it quickly in this video and give you like a TLDR of what I'm doing so far. So I'm streaming on Twitch pretty much every single day on my pre-patch activities and what I'm doing. It's a bunch of archaeology right now, and I just wanted to talk about archaeology because it's really important if you want those epics. Like, it's so crazy to me that we can get level 85 epics right now at level 80 in the pre-patch. So if you are not doing archaeology yet, you want to do it, trust me. And if you can't stand it, well, it is what it is. But I wanted to give you a TLDR on what I'm doing and give you more of an insight on what to do during the pre-patch. That's basically what I have for you today. This is going to be video number 2 for today as well, so it's basically a little bit of a filler and just talking about what I'm doing once again. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like down below. Come by on Twitch, check out my gold making guide. Thank you for watching as always, and I'll see you again in the next video very soon.